So there may be isotropic material, anisotropic material, homogeneous material, or orthotropic material. So isotropic material is basically has identical elastic properties in all direction. Okay, isotropic material has identical elastic properties in all the direction. Anisotropic, so it is the opposite of isotropic. Anisotropic material elastic properties are different in all direction. Okay, homogeneous material, so the material is same kind throughout, means the same composition throughout the length, throughout the width. Okay, in whole the volume, and the material is same kind throughout, then it is called homogeneous material. And orthotropic material, so xyz three mutually perpendicular planes of elastic symmetry. Okay, now let us discuss types of stresses. So types of stresses are, the first is normal stress. Normal stress is also called direct stress. Okay, there may be two types of normal stresses, like tensile and compressive stress. Okay, and it is corresponding to the force applied. Okay, if tensile force is applied, then it is corresponding stress is tensile stress, and corresponding strain is also tensile strain. Okay, so it all depends on the force applied. Okay, so normal stress is also called direct stress. There may be two types of normal stress. Normal means, okay, we'll see one by one. Okay, so tensile and compressive stresses. Okay, second is shear stress, third one is bending stress, fourth one is twisting stress or torsional stress, and fifth one is bearing stress. So these are all different types of stresses. Let us discuss one by one in detail. Let us discuss the first type of stress, which is normal stress. It is also called direct stress. The resistance to force per unit cross-sectional area normal to the section is known as normal stress. Okay, normal means perpendicular. Okay, so the stresses generated or stresses develop in the body, okay, that will be perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Suppose here is a section we have considered, and this is the applied load P, then the stresses developed are perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Okay, that's why it is called normal stress or direct stress. There may be two types of normal stress. It may be tensile or compressive. Now let us discuss these two types of stresses. So the first, tensile stress. So when a body is stretched by the force, okay, here we have considered this body and the force P is applied, okay, which is tensile force. So due to that tensile force, the body is stretched, then the resulting stress are known as tensile stress. Okay, suppose here the member is hanged with the ceiling, so it is also the example of tensile stress. Okay, so tie bar, tie rod are supposed to produce tensile stresses. Second one is compressive stress. So when the body is compressed due to the force applied, then it is called compressive stress. Okay, so when a body is compressed by a force, the resulting stresses are compressive stress. Okay, the equation will be same for both. Sigma is equal to P over A. Force applied will be equal to resistance offered by a body. So resistance over area, area is cross-sectional area. Okay, so that's why there may be two types of tensile stress and compressive stress. Okay, sorry, two types of normal stresses, which are tensile stress and compressive stress. Strut and column are examples of the members in which compressive stresses are developed. Second type of stress is shear stress. Shear stress, when a body is subjected to two equal, opposite and non-collinear forces acting tangentially across the resisting section. Okay, then the resulting stress is known as shear stress. We can write shear stress is equal to shear force over shearing area. For example, two plates are riveted by a rivet joint, okay, and if we apply two forces, tensile forces, okay, and parallel, see here, when a body, this is a body, subjected to two forces, two equal forces of F magnitude, opposite to opposite forces, non-collinear forces, see, both are non-collinear, means the line of axis of this force is in this way, okay, and the other force line of action is in this way. So both are non-collinear and acting tangentially across the resisting section. Okay, so both are acting tangentially. Okay, resisting section is this rivet. So the resulting stress is known as shearing stress, and this is the result of that shear stress. Okay, so by this example we can understand very well. So shear stress will be equal to shear force over shearing area. This is it is denoted by tau. So tau is equal to F upon area, which is shearing area. AS is the shearing area. Unit of shear stress will be equal to the unit of stress itself, which is Newton per mm square. Okay. So let us discuss about the third type of stress, which is bending stress. It is also called flexural stress. Bending stress at any point in the cross section, of the beam, the stress is set up to resist the bending moment. Stress is set up to resist the bending moment is called bending stress. Okay, or it is also known as longitudinal stress. Suppose there is a beam supported and it is loaded in this way, so it will subjected to bending moment. Okay, so in this way it will try to change its shape. So to prevent such bending, the internal resistance develop in the beam, that is called bending stresses. Okay, for example, we have this scale and I am trying to bend this scale. So the scale is opposing, okay, the scale is resisting the force to which I am applying. Okay, so that is known as bending stresses. At any point in the cross section of the beam, the stress is set up to resist the shear force. Okay, if the stress is set up to resist the shear force, then they are called shear stress. When a beam is subjected to only bending moment, okay, when a beam is totally subjected to only bending moment, no shear, no axial force, no torsion, so such a bending is called pure bending, or it is also called simple bending. Okay, and when bending is also accompanied by shear, then it is called ordinary bending. Okay, so here there are four different definitions we have seen. At any point in the cross section of the beam, the stress is set up to resist the bending moment. So stress is set up to resist the bending moment, called bending stress or longitudinal stress, as that stresses are developed longitudinally, okay, parallel to the length of the beam. Second, shear stress. So shear stresses are set up to resist the shear force. Simple bending. What is simple bending? So when a beam is subjected to only bending moment, no shear, no axial force, no torsion, okay, then it is called pure bending, okay, or simple bending. When bending is also accompanied by shear, then it is called ordinary bending. Let us discuss the fourth type of stress, which is twisting stress. It is also called torsional stress. When a shaft is subjected to turning moment or torque, see, turning moment or torque, twist is produced. Okay, twist is produced in the shaft. As a result of twist, the cross section of the shaft is subjected to shear force, shear stress, and this shear stress is in the shaft. This shear stress in the shaft is called twisting stress. For example, we are trying to tighten the screw. Okay, so if we are trying to tighten the screw, then also the twist is produced, and due to that twist, the shear stress is developed. Okay, so that shear stress in the shaft is called twisting stress. Clear? Next one is bearing stress. Bearing stress is nothing but the contact pressure between two separate bodies. Okay, it is just the contact pressure between two separate bodies. Okay, for example, wall, masonry wall, supported by soil. Okay, supported on soil, then soil will exert some pressure on that wall. That is called bearing pressure. Okay, a steel column transfers the load. Okay, for example, steel column transfers the load acting on it. In this way, we can say bearing stress is equal to bearing force over bearing area.